It was really good for me to meet them because I really admired them from the recording work that they'd done. They're definitely from the same school I come from.
In the world of social media, news, both real and fake, travels at the speed of a click. Information can circle the globe in minutes, reaching millions before anyone has a chance to check the facts. And just recently, the music world was rocked by a piece of news that seemed to stop everyone in their tracks. A headline that was as shocking as it was heartbreaking began to spread like wildfire, a digital inferno of grief and confusion. The subject was a living legend, a man whose name is synonymous with the monolithic power and mystical allure of rock and roll. He's an architect of sound, the master of the riff, and the founder of arguably the greatest rock band in history, Led Zeppelin. We are, of course, talking about Jimmy Page. The news was blunt, brutal, and seemed final. It's the kind of announcement fans of any icon dread seeing. A wave of sorrow crashed across social platforms, a collective gasp from those who grew up with his music and those who continued to discover its timeless magic. Tributes poured in. Memories were shared. A global community of music lovers united in mourning the loss of an undisputed titan. But in this age of instant information, there's a critical question we always have to ask, a shield against the constant onslaught of digital nonsense. In a world of rampant misinformation, what's the real story? In the last few hours, a viral social media post sent shockwaves through the music world with what appeared to be tragic news for Led Zeppelin icon, Jimmy Page. The post claimed the legendary guitarist had passed away, leading to an outpouring of grief from millions of worried fans. But is this heartbreaking news actually true? Tonight we're going to dissect this story, expose the painful truth behind the rumor, and reveal how the story was ultimately set straight. We're going to separate the facts from the fiction, the reality from the cruel and calculated hoax that fooled so many. It all started, as it so often does, on Facebook. In July of 2025, a page popped up, designed to look just like a credible news source. It had a simple, devastating title, R.I.P. Jimmy Page. The post itself was crafted with a chilling believability. It wasn't just a simple statement. It included specific fabricated details to make it feel authentic. The post claimed the iconic guitarist had passed away on July 13, 2025, around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It even provided a short, pre-written obituary touching on his birth date and immense legacy, and it ended with a call for fans to show their sympathy by liking and commenting. The digital bait was taken, and the post exploded. Within hours, the R.I.P. Jimmy Page page had racked up nearly 1 million likes. The comments section became a virtual wake, a wall of digital tears and heartfelt eulogies. Hundreds of thousands of fans from every corner of the globe shared their shock and sadness. They wrote about what Jimmy Page's music meant to them, how Led Zeppelin was the soundtrack to their lives, how his guitar playing had inspired them to pick up the instrument themselves. The grief was palpable and genuine. It was a testament to the profound connection fans have with their idols. For so many, Jimmy Page isn't just a musician. He's a figure who was there for pivotal moments. The first dance, the first road trip, the first time a piece of music made them feel truly understood. The news of his supposed passing wasn't just the loss of a celebrity. It felt like losing a friend, a mentor, a part of their own history. The hoax then leaped from Facebook to other platforms. Twitter, now X, became a frenzy of hashtags and retweets. The rumor was amplified with each share, each post adding another layer of perceived legitimacy. The fact that mainstream media hadn't touched the story should have been a major red flag. But in the heat of the moment, many overlooked that detail. The sheer volume of posts created a feedback loop, an echo chamber of sorrow, where hearing the lie over and over made it feel like the truth. This is the insidious nature of viral misinformation. It doesn't need journalistic integrity or facts. It runs on emotion. It hijacks our love, our admiration, and our grief turning those deeply human feelings into fuel. The creators of this hoax knew exactly what they were doing. They weren't just sharing a lie. They were weaponizing the collective heart of the music community. They built a bonfire of falsehoods and watched as millions of unsuspecting fans threw their own emotional logs onto the flames. Amid the chaos and confusion, a growing number of skeptical fans and seasoned journalists started asking the right questions. As the initial wave of emotion began to fade, critical thinking took its place. The most glaring issue was the source. The report didn't come from a reputable news organization like the BBC, Reuters, or the Associated Press. It wasn't on Jimmy Page's official website or his verified social media. The death of a figure of Page's stature would be a leading global headline, not a post on some random unverified Facebook page. This skepticism was, of course, well-founded. On July 14, 2025, as the rumor mill went into overdrive, the official word finally cut through the noise like a power cord from Page's iconic Les Paul. Though no formal press release with a lengthy statement was issued, representatives for the guitarist confirmed what the sane world already suspected. Jimmy Page was not dead. They let it be known that he had joined the long list of celebrities victimized by such hoaxes, and that he was, in fact, alive and well. The relief was immediate and immense. The cloud of sorrow hanging over the fan community lifted, replaced by a mix of joy and anger. Joy that the legend was still with us, and anger at the reckless cruelty of the hoax. The fake report was widely condemned by fans and media outlets as a distressing stunt preying on people's emotions. This whole mess is a classic case study in how misinformation works. The Jimmy Page death hoax followed a predictable, tragically effective formula. It starts with a believable but completely fake story about a beloved, often older, public figure. The story gets seeded on a major social media platform, usually, through a new page designed to look legit. The people behind these things understand social media psychology. They know that emotional content, especially news that triggers shock or sadness, gets shared far more than neutral information. The first shares come from people who are genuinely tricked and want to warn their friends. This creates a snowball effect. As the post gets more likes, comments, and shares, the platform's algorithm sees it as engaging and pushes it to an even wider audience. That's how a lie can reach 1 million people before the truth even gets a chance to be heard. Sometimes, the motive is just a cynical ploy for ad revenue, driving traffic to a site plastered with ads. Other times, it's more malicious, digital vandalism designed simply to cause chaos and emotional distress. It's a cruel game of manipulation, where the prize is attention and the cost is the peace of mind of millions. While the world was briefly distracted by a baseless rumor, 2025 has actually been a genuinely newsworthy year for Jimmy Page, with big developments touching on his legacy and artistic integrity. To really know what's happening with Jimmy Page, you have to tune out the fake news and listen to the real stories. And one of the longest-running sagas in Zeppelin history just saw a major new chapter written this year. This story is about one of the band's most iconic and haunting tracks, Dazed and Confused. For decades, the song has been a cornerstone of the Zeppelin legend, a sprawling, psychedelic masterpiece that showcased Page's revolutionary use of a violin bow on his guitar. But for just as long, it's been shrouded in a complex debate over who really wrote it. The story starts not in 1969, but in 1967 with a folk singer-songwriter named Jake Holmes. Holmes wrote and recorded a song titled Dazed and Confused for his album The Above-Ground Sound of Jake Holmes. That same year, Holmes opened for the Yardbirds, the band where Jimmy Page was the lead guitarist. Soon after, the Yardbirds started performing a heavier, reworked version of the song. When Led Zeppelin released their debut album, Dazed and Confused was on it, with the songwriting credit listed simply as written by Jimmy Page. This simmered for decades until 2010, when Jake Holmes filed a lawsuit for copyright infringement. The case was settled out of court, and later Zeppelin releases credited the song as "by Jimmy Page," inspired by Jake Holmes. It seemed like the matter was closed. However, in May of 2025, the dispute flared up again. Jake Holmes filed a new lawsuit, alleging that the terms of the 2011 settlement had been violated. The suit specifically pointed to recent releases of archival Yardbirds recordings that credited Page as the sole writer, and the song's use in the highly anticipated documentary Becoming Led Zeppelin. Holmes's complaint argued that the documentary and reissues used the song without proper credit or compensation, breaching their previous agreement. The music world watched closely as this legal battle geared up. But in a significant development, in August 2025, news broke that the matter had once again been settled out of court. While the specific terms of the settlement are confidential, legal filings confirmed that an agreement had been reached between Holmes, Page, and the other parties. This resolution finally brings an end to the latest chapter in the long, complicated tale of Dazed and Confused. This legal saga is far more than a rock history footnote. It highlights the complexities of artistic creation and the importance of acknowledging influence. Unlike the meaningless death hoax, the Dazed and Confused lawsuit is a real substantive issue that speaks directly to Jimmy Page's work and legacy. While legal disputes offered a complex look at Led Zeppelin's past, another major event in 2025 gave us a celebratory and unprecedented glimpse into their origins. This year marked the wide release of Becoming Led Zeppelin, the first-ever documentary made with the band's full cooperation, and its reception has been a massive and very real piece of news for Jimmy Page. For decades, the Zeppelin story has been told through biographies and rock journalism, with the band members themselves famously protective of their history. This made the announcement of Becoming Led Zeppelin a huge deal. Directed by Bernard McMahon, the film promised a new perspective, told in the band's own words, using newly unearthed footage and unheard interviews. The film smartly focuses on their critical formative years, the period leading up to their creation and their meteoric rise through the release of their second album. It dives deep into the individual journeys of Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Paul Jones, and the late, great John Bonham. After its festival premiere, the film got a wide theatrical release in February 2025, including a run in IMAX that let fans experience the remastered live performances in a truly immersive way. The fan response was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. For a fan base that has wanted this kind of inside look for over 50 years, the film was a revelation. It was a chance to see the band in their raw, nascent glory before the private jets and stadium tours. Jimmy Page himself, who was key to the film's creation, broke his silence on the fan reaction in a social media post on February 17, 2025. He wrote, "In light of your incredible responses and the demand for the Becoming Led Zeppelin film, I must say that feedback from fans is just humbling and inspiring." He added, "Thanks to everyone for your enthusiasm." His words captured what made the film so special. It wasn't just a historical document, it was a shared experience that reconnected the band with its followers. The film has been a commercial success too, grossing over $10 million domestically, a very strong showing for a music documentary. Critics have praised its focused narrative and its fly-on-the-wall approach, which uses only the band's voices to tell the story. This documentary is a vital piece of the Jimmy Page story in 2025, showing an artist actively and lovingly tending to his legacy. These are the kinds of real stories we focus on, the ones rooted in fact, history, and the true legacy of the artists we love. The world of music news is filled with noise and rumors designed to grab your attention. Our goal is to cut through that clutter and bring you the stories that matter. If you want to stay up to date with real news about your favorite rock legends and support a channel dedicated to factual, in-depth storytelling, Now is the perfect time to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. That way, you'll never miss an update. The massive reaction to the Jimmy Page death hoax, the million likes, the global grief, the wave of relief and anger, begs a deeper question. Why? Why does a false rumor about this particular 81-year-old musician spark such a powerful and immediate response from millions? To answer that, you have to look beyond the man and at the myth, the music, and the monumental legacy he built. Jimmy Page isn't just a guitarist. He's a foundational architect of hard rock and heavy metal. Born on January 9, 1944, James Patrick Page was a mostly self-taught musician who became obsessed with the guitar after finding one in a new family home. Before he was a rock star, he was one of London's most sought-after session musicians in the mid-1960s. His precision and versatility landed him on countless records, often uncredited, for artists like The Kinks, The Who, and Donovan. This time in the studio was his conservatory, where he mastered sound, production, and arrangement. That studio wizardry became his trademark. When he joined the Yardbirds, he pushed them into more experimental territory. But it was in 1968, with Led Zeppelin, that his vision was truly unleashed. Page wasn't just the guitarist. He was the founder, primary songwriter, and producer. He sculpted Zeppelin's sound from the ground up, treating the studio itself as an instrument. His innovations are legendary. He pioneered techniques like reverse, echo, and microphone distancing to create vast atmospheric soundscapes. On the guitar, he redefined what was possible. Rolling Stone magazine perfectly called him the pontiff of power riffing. The hooks from Black Dog, Heartbreaker, and Kashmir are not just riffs, they are elemental forces hardwired into the DNA of rock. But he wasn't just about heavy rock. He was a master of dynamics, weaving in beautiful, intricate acoustic folk. Songs like The Rain Song, Going to California, and of course, Stairway to Heaven showcased a stunning musicality. This ability to go from a thunderous roar to a delicate whisper became a Zeppelin hallmark that would influence countless bands. Then, there's the mystique. Page cultivated an aura of mystery and power, drawing on his interest in symbolism and the occult. The Zoso symbol, the dragon suit, the cryptic album art. It all built a mythology that elevated Led Zeppelin from a band to a cultural phenomenon. We care so much because Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin didn't just write songs, they created worlds. Their music has been a rite of passage for generations, a gateway to heavier sounds and greater artistic ambition. The emotional response to the hoax wasn't just about the potential loss of a famous person. It was about the perceived threat to a cultural touchstone. It's a testament to the fact that for millions, Jimmy Page's work is a living, breathing part of who they are. The Jimmy Page incident was a painful reminder of how easily lies can spread. But you're not helpless. By adopting a few simple habits, we can all become part of the solution. First, and most importantly, check the source. This is the golden rule. Before you react or share, look at where the info is coming from. Is it a major news organization? Is it the artist's official verified social media page? Or is it a random site you've never heard of called R.I.P. Jimmy Page? If the news is real and important, it will be confirmed by multiple credible sources very quickly. Second, look for official confirmation. For news about a celebrity's health, their official channels are the first place to check. Look at their website or verified Twitter or Instagram. If there's nothing there, it's a huge red flag that the rumor is fake. Third, be wary of emotional headlines. Hoaxes are designed to make you panic. They use dramatic language like tragic, news, or shocking revelation. When you see a headline that feels designed to make you emotional, take a breath and think. Real journalism, while it can be about emotional topics, usually presents information in a more measured, factual tone. Fourth, analyze the content. Read past the headline. Does the article have verifiable details, or is it vague? Look for typos or weird grammar, which are often signs of a hastily made fake news site. Finally, don't fuel the fire. If you see a post you think is a hoax, don't share it, not even to debunk it. Sharing it can actually make it more visible. Instead, use the platform's tools to report the post as fake news. By sharing the truth from credible sources once it's available, you help drown out the lie. Becoming a smart consumer of information is a skill. By using these simple checks, we can protect ourselves from the stress and confusion these cruel hoaxes cause. In the end, the story of the tragic news for Jimmy Page turned out to have a happy ending. The rumor was debunked, the truth won, and the legendary guitarist is very much alive and well. This whole ordeal, while stressful, reaffirmed the immense love the world has for Jimmy Page and his music, while also serving as a stark lesson about misinformation. We've seen that the real story of Jimmy Page in 2025 isn't one of tragedy, but of managing his legacy and celebrating his art. From the final resolution of the dazed and confused legal dispute to the humbling and inspiring fan reaction to the Becoming Led Zeppelin documentary, the true narrative is about an artist whose work continues to be relevant, debated, and cherished. The hoax may have caused a temporary storm, but Jimmy Page's legacy is built on something far more substantial than a viral post. It's built on the monolithic riffs of Whole Lotta Love, the intricate beauty of Stairway to Heaven, and the revolutionary production that changed music forever. The good news is the maestro is still with us, and the music remains. So what's your take on these kinds of social media hoaxes? Did you see this rumor when it was spreading? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going about how we can all be more mindful consumers of media. And, as always, thank you for watching and for supporting fact-based content in the world of music.